Hello. I have some moments before I get to my next client, so I wanted to do a little hello. How are you? I'm not going to look into the camera, so just know I'm there with you. This channel, this offerings of who I am and what I'm all about. I've always been in love with a transformation. Not just my own, but for other people. I have always transformed things since I was a little kid. If things weren't a certain way, not like I was anal retentive or anything, it was more about being able to control my environment in uncontrollable circumstances. So, like, I remember at 7 washing my windows. Like, it's unusual, I know, and I would also do our family's laundry. I would have to take it to the laundromat down the block. My mom would give me quarters, and I would do the whole family's laundry. Otherwise, it wouldn't get done too frequently. And also, I don't know, I had a lot of embarrassment about, my mom smoked, so I smelled like cigarettes as a kid, and I don't know if I was bullied for that particularly, although I'm sure people have commented and that's why I actually did something about it. And the whole talk of why I'm talking about this is more about when something bothers you about maybe say somebody else saying something or just internally. This quote, I saw it on the internet, and please let me know who actually said it, is but what you aren't changing, you're choosing. And that is so true. And I knew this inherently as a kid. So what power I had as a kid was probably limited, but as much as I had power, I did something about things. So when I didn't feel comfortable or I wanted more control, I started organizing things. I started cleaning. And it looked very helpful to my mom, and I'm sure it was helpful to her to the degree that I was able to accomplish it. She was not a perfectionist, so she wasn't like ever, oh, you didn't do anything right, that sort of thing. So that was good. I didn't have that kind of criticism. And I'm grateful for the fact that I did have so much freedom to kind of, as best as I could, set up routines and, I guess coping mechanisms would be another word for it, or ways to feel more empowered. And cleaning and organizing did that for me. Now, I didn't know that I had ADD, and no one did in the 80s when I was going to school, because I was decent at school and I was smart, and it helped cover other things that were going on in my life, whether it would be things that were going on at home. And I was a good girl, and I wanted to please everybody, and I wanted to do good, and I had perfectionism kind of in my own world, partially probably because I had ADD. This is just a random story, but like the whole purpose of me kind of talking about this is that when something is criticizing you, whether it's your inner voice, which I teach people how to change their inner voice, but also when there's an external person, place, or thing kind of triggering you, whether you see something and it feels like, oh, that hit me in the gut, like if it bothers you, then you have the power to do something about it. So when I was little, I had control over somewhat of the physical environment, maybe not the emotional environment or the financial environment, but I had physical environmental skills that I could do. So when I teach people how to empower themselves and transform, we work with positive stress, because in a way, it's a positive stress to be like, I see something and I have the power to change it. Now, I've worked with people with extreme mental health disorders. I've worked with people that are in every aspect of mental health. That it depends on where you are, but you start with the baby step of where you're at. So if you cannot clean your whole kitchen, if you like to feel more empowered, what would be easiest to do? Maybe it's cleaning the whole sink in your kitchen, if it's not your whole house. For self-care purposes, if it's just legitimately saying, well, what power do I have here? You always have power, even when it looks like there's none. And that's a hard pill to swallow when really everything is falling apart. Like, if I wanted to be timely, California, like, you feel like you have nothing. You have nothing physical, you have nothing, maybe you have no finances. It just feels like very powerless until you realize you're resourced from within. And hopefully, with good-hearted humans and animals and energy, it will carry you as well as your internal resource. And you do have power, even if it feels very limited, it feels cut off, it feels stunted. There's always a power source from within you. And it's okay if it takes time. There's traffic. Cool. Maybe good for you, because then you have more of me. Anyway, so when you feel disempowered, when you feel, especially if your like room or your life or your finances or your options feel limited, that means that you're kind of closed in energetically. It probably means you're protecting of yourself and you're not sure how to open. Maybe you're not ready to open to opportunity or resource or energy. Some guy got pulled over. Alright. Cool, we're on our way. That you are always resource. And if you do not have the purview, the perception to see that, which I know a lot of my late 20s and even some of my mid 20s and early 30s, I'm in my 40s, almost 50, I can say unequivocally, I did not see opportunity. I saw a lot of lack. And I wallowed in the idea that there were no opportunities, there's no options. Partially is because that's how my brain was wired for a very long time, and I worked on it religiously to do something about it. And two, I also often gave other people or energy power. So, for example, if I didn't want to be lonely, or if I didn't necessarily want to do something like say somebody said you should do this, and then I would do it, and I know I went against myself, but I did it because it would keep the peace and keep other people happy. And that's called people pleasing, if anybody doesn't know. It's a way to control other people's emotions versus like taking care of your own, and taking care of your own often makes other people very uncomfortable, partially because they're not taking care of their own emotional needs or physical or financial or whatever needs, but they're also using you as a band-aid for their own anxiety or stress or even worry or whatever. Like, this is why I don't love the word worry, or like the idea of worry. There's a difference between concern and care versus like, I'm so worried, like I don't see you having any power in this situation, so here's an example of what you should do to fix it. Like, that's trying to fix somebody else instead of trusting that somebody else has power and resource within, and if they want support, or if they want, like in the dire straits of what's happening in California, so many people need financial resources, a hug, there's so many things going on there, but also in your own life, even if you're not even there, just taking care of yourself from watching and seeing other people suffer, or you're just typically haven't taken care of yourself for a very long time, and now you're starting to wake up to this idea that, oh wait, I gotta put myself first. I have to put my oxygen mask on. I have to do this because I've been living in a way that is diminishing me, is not serving me, is not taking care of me. And it doesn't mean having everything in your life perfect, like a fucking Instagram like influencer that makes you buy like Amazon products because they're place is so perfectly tidy, or like their finances are perfectly tidy, or their romance is perfectly tidy. That's not real life. Even you can have a perfect aesthetic and still be miserable on the inside, or you could have a very messy house and be wonderfully ecstatic. These are not mutually exclusive ideas or feelings or whatever. The whole point of this is my talk is remind you that you are always resourced. You can use positive stress, and I hope you're not going to deep stress, but my heart goes out to you if you are, and if you need some sort of emotional resource or physical resource, please share in the comments, and maybe everybody can help each other out in that kind of way. But in terms of using the positive stressors of saying, okay, this is making me uncomfortable, whether it's not having enough money or not, I don't know, like when I wanted to date when I was younger and I didn't date for a long time, I'm like, well, what is the opposite of, like, the positive stress is, yes, it's stressful to date, but is the stress of not having a companion or a partner or love interest or whatever that I was seeking at the time, motivates. It's like if you want to, and it's not to use it as a negative, like you're a bad person because you don't have somebody, or if you're a bad person because you're overweight, or you're a bad person because your house is a mess or whatever. These are not true. You are valuable, worthy, and deserving because you exist. It's getting your brain on board to put you on a priority list, so when you're taking care of your mind, taking care of your body, taking care of your finances or whatever, you're doing it from the most highest level compassionate place with positive stress to inch you forward. Like when they're, and because I have ADD or ADHD as they like to call it, is that I need a lot of visual reminders for things in order for me to, I mean, I have a great memory, I'm very blessed, but in terms of being able to remember mundane things that don't matter to my brain. So if I have a blog post that I need to post, I will forget that, and I have. Like, I used to have a blog, I have multiple blogs, but one particular blog that I used to have, as I wrote a whole bunch, and then I forgot about them. There was no visual reminders anywhere for me. There was not even like, I might even had an email reminder, but I probably wasn't checking the email because that didn't remind me. I didn't have the reminder. So the positive stress would be adding these things into your life to help you remind yourself of what you want. But sometimes we're just so lost in the weeds. Sometimes we're so overwhelmed. Sometimes we're just so like just overwhelmed, like I said. You just have to do one baby step at a time. And one baby step could be cleaning your sink and doing that on repeat. It could be taking an inventory of, like, I love to do mass brain dumps. Now, I rarely look at them again because I'm just trying to get all this information out of my head. But mass brain dumps of like, okay, all the things I need to do for my car, all the things I need to do for my, it's almost like a to-do list, but not really, because this is not an action-oriented thing per se, because it's just trying to get that information and data out of that phonetic energy of your mind, so you can choose one that is the most beneficial if you choose to. Or this is like a jumping off point for where you can basically, I know I'm going on tangents, but like once you get some space in your life to start asking the question daily, even hourly, even maybe moment by moment, what do I need right now? What do I need, period? And sometimes that's the basic needs: food, clothing, shelter, rest, joy, relaxation. It could be any of those things, or it could be bigger things like, what do I need in terms of my finances? What do I need in terms of relationships? What do I need in terms of this or that? And then you can widen the scope of, okay, not just need, what do I want? because the wanting will be the positive pressure in your life. Because honestly, I can say for certain, I will not move my ass unless I want something or I'm motivated by a particular why. A lot of my whys, unfortunately, are tied to people pleasing, but I modified that as I grew older to benefit me. So I am very motivated externally by if somebody else has a need, I tend to be motivated to move. It is from my childhood. I use it to my advantage, but then I had to learn how to use that for myself to motivate myself to exercise, to eat better, like cooking and cutting vegetables and not eating fast food as much and doing all these things that I wanted to do but didn't have the chutzpah, the motivation to do so, because I for a long time didn't see myself as valuable as other people, which makes no sense, because if another human being is valuable, so are you, so am I. We're all even if they're class systems and all this other shit that don't look like it, everybody is equal energetically. Like, everybody deserves and love, compassion, understanding, etc. But a lot of the times when you're over giving to other people and not giving to yourself, that means you still have the gene or the pattern, really, that says I'm not as worthy or as XYZ. Like, we could do that about California right now. Like, we could literally, like, there are people who have no house, no lost their lives, and blah, blah, blah. And then that's true for everywhere. Like, that's a universal truth. There will always be suffering or people in pain that have it worse than them. And there will always be people that will have it easier than them. So what do we do about it? Well, how do you motivate yourself to take care of you first so you can be there financially, emotionally, physically, energetically for people that absolutely need support in dire conditions, whether it's down the block with a granny who needs like some love and attention, a brownie perhaps, or it's people that we love who we've never met. How do we get that? Is that we have to switch up the motivation to positive pressure. The positive pressure for losing weight is that I will have enough energy, and you get to figure out what this why is, this motivation cue, because it's different for every person, and sometimes it's different for every project or energy. Like, this is why I coach people, is trying to figure out what motivates and motivation is fleeting. So it's getting behind the purpose and why, because I'm motivated to get to my client, and there are things in me that probably is like, I would like to nap today. I would like to just watch movies, and I mean, I haven't watched a movie in a long time, but like, you know what I mean, like, veg out. I need to rot. There's a part of me that needs to rot, and there's a part of me that like needs to support this other person, and I've filled my cup enough today. And usually I would suggest filling your personal cup overflowing, so everybody in your life gets the overflow and not draining from the cup, like as if you have a hole and a leak. But sometimes we have to start wherever we are. So I have enough to give to my client today, where I'm driving to, because I've taken care of my needs earlier. Like, I fed myself when I needed something. I gave myself time to doodle and journal. I gave myself like good questions to ask, and a reminder of, like, you know, some philosophical things that I'm working on for my own healing. Like, I gave myself things, and I'll give myself some coffee because I love the Starbucks over here where I meet my client. So I'm giving myself so I can pour out onto others, and it is the overflow. Now, am I fully at a full cup? No. I can tell that unequivocally because I've gotten over a cold. I have some things looming in the background of my noggin because I didn't write it down. But that's okay, because you gotta be wherever you are and give yourself the space and the compassion and the choice to give more to yourself. Like, this is the practice of self-care and reducing your stress. It's hard to reduce your stress when you're in the middle of stress, but it's much more palpable when you give to yourself your basic needs of, like, what do I need? How do I feel? What would be the highest, best thing that can be right now, not future tripping or about it or anything, but like, what can I do to pour into me? What can I do to pour into somebody else? Because sometimes it's an absolute necessity to give to others. It takes away your self-centeredness. It reminds you to be empathetic. It reminds you that other people exist in the world and everybody's going through something, whether you see it or not, whether it's present in front of you, whether they're smiling or not. Everybody's got things that they carry, and some people are like doing okay. Some people are fabulous, and some people are in the depths, in the dark. And having kindness and compassion for yourself and others is part of that, like, journey. So use positive stress. Sometimes, funny enough, I heard this from Spencer Pratt. God bless him and Heidi and their family who lost their house. And it's funny, I don't typically quote Hill's reality stars, but it's like the power of zero. Sometimes when you have nothing, it's the most powerful place, because you have no excuses. You have no other choice. And that's a positive pressure even no one would wish. Oh my God, I have 3 freaking drones. I'm in New Jersey, by the way. I have 3 freaking drones right in front of me, and it's so annoying. Anyway, positive pressure. This starting from zero. I've started from zero so many times in my life. I was homeless at 12. I was nearly homeless. I guess I was homeless in 2007, but I lived with a friend. And then, there are times in my life where I had zero. I started with zero. Again and again and again. And those were such powerful positions. Do you have to go to zero to have power? Absolutely not. We don't want that. But sometimes the fresh, clean slate frees you in some weird, minus grief and all of that, is that it frees you from any preconceived notion of it has to be a certain way, because everything is taken. When I was 12, that happened. Everything that I owned or at least appreciated. My mom lived on a beach in Daytona Beach, Florida. And I literally had nothing to my name except for the jeans that I was wearing. This is a good thing in a way, is that I'm less attached to items, partially because of that experience, because I knew I had to reframe a lot of that so I could have a purpose and meaning behind all of it, and not peace. And I did have a time where I became very obsessive about certain things in my 20s, and I've luckily know when that starts to happen again, when my anxiety goes up, and I know how to correct it, or at least abate the spiral that therein is hoarding of some sort. Usually it's mental hoarding or physical hoarding. So I'm not a hoarder, luckily. And I do my best not to. Is this better lighting? It's all wackadoo. Anyway, I gotta go because I have my client. But the whole purpose of this is to remind you to use positive pressure. Remind yourself that sometimes starting from zero, from the great Spencer Pratt, there's power in zero. It's almost like, I wouldn't suggest this, but I've done this one in the past, is that sometimes I would have to hit a rock bottom. This is why it works in recovery work. It's like you have no place to go but up. You can do that without zero, though. You can do it when you have Because technically you're fully resourced internally, your soul, your spirit, dare I say love. If you cultivate it and you grow it you feed water into your self-care and self-appreciation, with not the narcissistic, I'm the only important person in the world bit, but legitimately pouring into yourself so you have that overflow of love. And sometimes you could have completely zero, nothing in your life, no love, and still there's love there. Because it's never ending, it's infinite. So using the power of zero, or rock bottom, and know that it is time to go up. And this is true for what you want to do. Do you want to clean your house? Do you want to organize your life so you feel more empowered and in control? Do you want to calm the nervous system of your mind? So you can think clearly during not just chaos. Like, I think for the rest of our lifetimes, I think we're going to go through a lot of these things. But I hope individually you feel empowered and resourced. And if you need support, I have one-on-one coaching available. I'm building courses and stuff to supplement that for people who cannot do one-on-one. But I'm here. Comment. Let me know if you need support, and I will do my best to guide you in the direction of said support. And also know that you are fully resourced. You are full of love, and you might not feel it or know it. Use the positive positive stress of maybe zero, or maybe wherever you are is a positive stress of like, I'm going to take one baby step to clean this, one baby step to do this. And it's not about perfection, because that's where we get hung up and we dog ourselves like, I should have done this, I should have done that, or if I was organized, or if I didn't have ADD, or if I didn't have depression, or I didn't have this, or blah, 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 if I had more money, we could use every source in the book, but really you have the choice to take one baby step. Just put on your shoes, as Dr. Mike says. Another great, he talked about grief in that way too. It's like, you just put on your shoes. You'll go somewhere, he said. And it's absolutely true. In the depths of my grief or healing process is like when I clean my freaking sink, it's one step forward. It's not bed rotting. Bed rotting has its purpose for like a day, maybe a couple if you're sick, or maybe like 48 hours if you're in a deep state of needing deep rest. Other than that, bed rotting is not good for the soul or the nervous system, because you need to move your body and energy field, even if you have no particular place to go. This is why you can love or hate Starbucks, but leaving the house is so good for the soul. Sometimes just walking around your house is good for the soul. It doesn't really matter. Moving your feet helps you move beyond that one energy field that says stay stuck, keep frozen, don't do anything to improve your life, don't use this pressure, don't use this pain, don't use this positivity, don't use this for your benefit. Use all of the energy fields at your disposal. If you have anger, use it. If you have sadness, use it. If you have joy, use it. Joy is fabulous to move the needle. I get excited when I get to see people. Like, I don't know all these baristas' names, but I see them and we know each other, and I get excited seeing human beings. I know I might be, and I'm an introvert, so it's not that I like people. There's a very small percentage of people that I do not like, and even then I give compassion and awareness to their struggle and why they are tools. But that's another day. Positive stress. If you need support, I would love to support you one-on-one coaching. I have packages, I have payment plans, I have all the things. And thank you for joining me here. And power. You have it. It's innate, resourced. you're fully resourced internally, and I can help show you where it is and how to grow it. Talk to you later. Peace.